Hey, this whole twin flame journey thing. For some reason, it tends to be referred to as a journey. What's the point? I think the point, well, I mentioned before, a number of those in the mental health field have come to a repeated observation, which is that developmental traumas seem to be the norm. And that's really something. In essence, that kind of means that instead of interpersonal dynamics and complementary systems out there for us to take part in and interact with, as opposed to that, we have systems that are more in alignment with a way of being that is non-complementary to our underlying psychobiology. I like this term, psychobiology, because it's mimetic and it's kind of a package deal, and it sums up quite a bit in and of itself. It's not dissociative, because the mind and body are kind of by design not meant to be dissociated from one another, but dissociation tends to become a byproduct when there's all kinds of crap in the way. All kinds of beliefs, ways of doing things, and adaptations that are anathema to one's underlying psychobiology. And it's never been environmentally safe for these things to come to fruition. Thankfully, there are things that can be done about that. We can do a fairly comprehensive individuation process with the right kind of resonant information and custom tailoring, personal custom tailoring. But the twin flame thing, the way I see it, it seems to be something that is meant to kind of help break people out of this crap. And it's a mandate that is in a place that is too difficult to overlook or suppress in its entirety, because it comes with the package deal of love and a fairly comprehensive version of it as well, at least on some level. And it may lead you through all kinds of bewildering paths, but sooner or later. And even if, and hey, there's a fair amount of people out there with, it's like a mandate, but you can't make anybody do anything. So if one finds themselves in that kind of situation, you can use the energy of that connection to do whatever you need to do for the healing work and whatnot. There's an analogy that I've used a number of times about an old growth system that runs throughout a forest floor, and that is of mycelium, which is like a fungal network. And the way that it is synergistically and interactively integrated within the entire forest is phenomenal. It acts like a brain and a regulating function. It supplies nutrients to trees and any number of other things. Ergo, somewhat of a regulating function, helping to create homeostasis. Can live for a very long time, too. And if some kind of pathogen enters into the forest, well, that mycelium is going to start shooting information around all over the place to compare notes and identify what the pathogen is, and see if it can come up with a defense, a dissipation, or perhaps even some kind of cure. I see this analogy not entirely unlike what seems to have been going on for some time with people as if we're trying to wake up from some kind of collectivized state of frozen amnesia. Much like Graham Hancock says. It's as if we're a species with amnesia.
It's like we're a species with amnesia.
He never said it like that. I'm just being silly.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. We're like a species with amnesia.
He never said that. He never said it like that.
I've said it like that so many times.
He's never said it like that, as far as I'm aware. Anyway. And the twin flame thing seems to be, from my perspective, kind of like these fungal node things. Helping with this whole organic process of getting back on track. If anybody like to explore the species with amnesia thing, I've got a video called Welcome to Unconventional Town. And it gets a little silly here and there, you know, what can I say? But it's the information's in there if anybody's interested. I wouldn't mind expanding upon that another time. And personally, when it comes to just any interpersonal dynamics, frankly, I can't help but see and pick up on certain things and read it like a book, an open book. And most people in my experience are not familiar with these kinds of ciphers and interpretive languages of the unconscious, as I like to call it. And in my experience, trying to bring any of it up, it's going to be met with the, what? What are you talking about? You're crazy. I mean, really. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Uh-huh. I've heard that bedtime story before. I believed it on a number of occasions, too, until I started considering the sources. But anyway. So, when and if something like that comes up, I just gotta act accordingly and in tandem with the mandates, if you will. Especially in unconventional circumstances, and not in a good way. Not in the optimistic sense. It tends to put a little strain on, my bandwidth of interpretation and mobility and agency, essentially. So, and if there's any newcomer on here and doesn't understand what I'm referring to, just take a look at the library, and if you pick up on any videos with the term narcissist in it or anything like that, it might get you an idea of what I'm talking about. And when it comes to the forest floor analogy again, and the pathogen in this sense, well, I'm of the opinion that this whole phenomena of narcissism is a major contributing factor in the pathogen. The term narcissism is so misleading, especially on a surface level. If you really understand what it means, it's really something. And a number of us seem to have been responding to some kind of mandate to be comparing notes on another type of network for quite some time now. To understand this thing from the inside out. And compare notes as to what can be done about it. So that's another thing. I have mixed feelings about the whole twin flame thing because of a number of unpleasant experiences with it. And as I said in the last video about this, maybe at times it's more of a frequency or an energy than anything else. Something to somehow get you back on track in some way, shape, or form. Get you out of the nightmare of the narcissism debacle. I think that's about it for this one. Thanks for tuning in.